Hey, howdy, hey, what is going on, you guys? It is your boy, Pyroto here, with once again, another video. Now, in today's video, we're going to be doing a Bioactive setup build. I know you guys absolutely love it when I do Bioactive setups, when I build backgrounds and whatnot for Bioactive enclosures. Now, the Bioactive setup that we're going to be building is for our little buddy, Houdini. He is, as it says, a pastel ball python. He is an adult male pastel ball python. We're going to be building him a giant 40-gallon Bioactive setup. So, as you can see, I've already been kind of gathering plants and other supplies for building this setup. A whole bunch of cork and all sorts of different materials. Then we've got his enclosure right here just chilling until we get it set up. So this Bioactive setup is going to be absolutely massive. It's a 40-gallon enclosure with front opening doors. I'm telling you, this is going to be a dope setup. First thing we need to do is get some towels on the floor so we don't make a mess. Whoa! Well, there we go. Our towels are now on the floor. Now time for our cage. What the? Well, I guess that works. Well, now that we've gotten our tank here, we've gotten our foam, we're going to get ready to start building this enclosure. So once again, we've got all this cork here, here, and over here. So we're going to use all these different chunks of cork to build a really cool and unique background for this enclosure. We may have branches sticking out, going to the side. We're just going to kind of play along with it and see what looks best. Well, this is the progress we have made so far. I think it looks super duper dope. Once again, I may play along with it a little bit more. But once I get all my branches in place, then it's time to start foaming this enclosure. Now I'm basically using this waterfall foam sealant. I've got 3 cans, which will be more than enough for a 40-gallon tank. All I'm going to do is basically just foam the rest of the cork and whatnot in to create that rocky, naturalistic background look. And of course, without the foam, then your cork wouldn't be able to hold itself up and it would just fall over. So needless to say, that foam right there is very, very important if you're going to be building a Bioactive setup. Or any setup with a background. Now after we foam this enclosure, we're going to add some jungle mix. That's basically going to create a rocky, dirt-like look on the background. It'll all make more sense once we get to that point. But I guess without further ado, it's time to start shaking up our can and getting ready to foam this 40-gallon enclosure. Our little buddy Houdini over here is like, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Hi, Houdini. We're getting you a new cage built. Are you ready, buddy? Are you ready for your new home? Stay right there, and here in a few hours, your cage will be done, okay, buddy? All right, y'all, without further ado, it's time to start foaming this enclosure. You gotta be very careful when you're foaming your cage. You don't want to make a mess. You don't want to get foam everywhere, and you don't want to knock over your cork. Now before the foam can dry, we're going to start sprinkling our jungle mix all across the background here, and we will repeat this coat several times. Well, boom, y'all, this is looking super duper good. You can see we've got our branches sticking out, and of course we'll carve this foam back if we need to as well. But yeah, now at this point, we're just going to wait a few hours, let the foam cure and dry all the way before we can start doing anything else like planting the enclosure. Once the cage has dried and the foam has cured, we can start adding our plants. So yeah, I will catch up with you guys here in a few hours. Well, y'all, it has actually been more than a few hours. It's been a whole day, and I've been letting this foam cure and dry, and at this point, it is solid. It is dried solid all the way through, and this background is actually looking pretty darn good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the cage back how it was, upright, and we're going to take a closer look at the background. Well, y'all, this is what the cage is looking like so far. I think it's coming along pretty darn well. Now at this point, we're going to start carving back all these huge chunks of foam and siliconing the enclosure. Well, y'all, we've got this absolutely massive pile of carved foam and even more inside this enclosure. But this is how it's looking. Like right now, it's kind of, ugly. But once I add silicone and a fresh layer of dirt, all this foam will look a whole lot better. Just wait, this cage is going to be insane. So now we're going to take our brown waterproof silicone here, and we're going to start siliconing this background, adding a little bit of dirt on the parts we silicone, and kind of going from there. Now that we've gotten our silicone smeared across the background of this enclosure, we're going to hurry up and add a heaping amount of dirt across this silicone. Well, y'all, now that we've gotten the dirt all across the back of this tank, we have to wait a few hours so that this silicone can completely dry. If you don't wait a few hours, it's pretty risky putting an animal in there with the silicone fumes still emitting. So here in a couple hours, once that is dried, I'm going to continue work on that enclosure. So now I'll wait for this cage to dry. We're going to go ahead and start getting our boy Houdini out of his cage. And we're going to start taking all of his old decorations out as well. Buddy, we're getting you a new home, okay? Are you ready for your new home, dude? Let go, homie. Let go. Let go. This is Houdini's old hide. We will no longer be needing that right there. Alright, buddy, you're going to have to go in this tub for a little bit. Just for a little while, okay? There goes Houdini, our pastel ball python. We're going to close him up in this tub here and slide him to the side. So now that we've cleared off that shelf space right there where Houdini's old tank is, we're going to get his new tank on that shelf and get ready to start setting it up. Well, look at that. The tank is now on the shelf. We've gotten our light on it, and right off the bat, it looks absolutely insane. But just imagine once we get plants and everything else inside of this enclosure. So at this point, what we're going to start doing is adding our substrate across the bottom, then building it up from there, adding some wood and whatnot, and then of course our plants. These are the primary ingredients that we're going to be using for this enclosure. So first to the left, we have some charcoal, then we got some cypress mulch, we got some Zilla jungle mix, which is going to be our main body of the substrate, and then a little bit of play sand. So what we're going to do is we're going to dump all these in there, start mixing it around, and creating a really good healthy substrate. So first we're going to start by adding a few handfuls of charcoal. This charcoal is really just good for plant growth. And we're not going to use too much. We don't really need too much either. So we're just going to add a few handfuls, and then once we get the rest of our substrate in, we'll kind of mix it up. Then we have added some cypress mulch. Once again, this will all get mixed up with the rest of the substrate. Now that we've gotten our charcoal and our cypress mulch, we're going to add some jungle mix. Done our jungle mix in, we're going to add a few handfuls of this play sand here and just kind of sprinkle it throughout the dirt. So as you can see, we've gotten it mixed up pretty well. I'm also going to add some of the sphagnum moss here just for a little extra humidity. Now I know I said we wouldn't need this hide anymore, but we are actually going to use this hide until I can find him a better cork hide. Now once I find him a better cork hide, then we're going to get rid of that hide and put in the new one. At this point though, we're going to start planting this enclosure here, getting it set up and ready for its new inhabitant. So far so good. Houdini's ball python setup is coming together. Now I still have more plans to add, but the only unfortunate news that I really have to bear about this setup is that I don't have any moss. So I was not able to pick up any moss for this setup. Now as soon as I get moss and new cork, then I might even rescape it again. But for now, this will work. But a lot of you guys know when I build the bioactive setups, I absolutely love to go crazy with moss. And as of now, I don't have any, so it's going to look a little bit different than my regular setups. But as soon as I get moss, we'll add it to the enclosure. But yeah, this is how it's looking so far, and I still got some more plants to add. Well, y'all, this is the progress we have made on his 40-gallon ball python setup. Now, to me, it looks pretty darn cool. Now, as I already said, it is missing moss. It could really use some moss throughout the enclosure, but other than that, it does look pretty sick. I mean, look at that, y'all. So we've got a bunch of bromeliads in and around the enclosure. We've got our hide. We've got a little extra branches and whatnot for Houdini to climb across. I mean, he's going to have so many opportunities for hiding, for climbing, and all sorts of other things. We've of course got his water bowl over here, then his main hide. Now once again, he can hide back in the corner behind these plants. He can get way up on the top if he chooses to. He's got so many options. Now we have also added our leaf litter here, so all you really need to do is spray it down a little bit and start adding some isopods and springtails. So now we're just going to spray the enclosure down, make sure all the plants are really well watered, because obviously they're going to be dry, they're going to be shocked from the change in location. And then once we get it sprayed down, we'll add our isopods and springtails. So now we've got our trusty dusty tub of isopods and springtails. As you can see, we got lots of little bugs crawling around. We're literally just going to take the cork and shake it in the enclosure and watch them all go. Go free, little guys, go free. We'll get another piece here, more little bugs, shake them. Shake them, and let them go free. You can kind of see them just running around right now, like absolutely panicking. They're like, ah! But yeah, they'll find a new home, they'll start breeding, and eventually this cage will have a bunch of isopods and springtails of its own. Well, y'all, now that we've got all sorts of little isopods and springtails running around the substrate in this enclosure. I mean, you can see them all over the place. Little zebra isopod there. There's another one there. There's actually two over there if you look closely. I mean, there's all sorts of little creatures running around. Now that we've gotten all sorts of those little guys going inside of this enclosure, it is time to add Houdini, our pastel ball python. Buddy, whoa. Oh. Oh. Okay, Houdini, now that I got all that cleaned up, are you ready to go into your new home? Let's go, buddy. You're about to get the home of your life. You're about to get your dream setup. There's our little buddy Houdini. Now, right now, he's absolutely terrified because he's been in this little tub for a little while. But once we get him to his setup, he's going to absolutely love it. Little backstory on this guy right here is I got him as a rescue from a smoker's house. Now this smoker obviously smoked around this poor little guy a lot, and he ended up getting a respiratory problem. After working with him for several months, I got him over his respiratory problem, and now he's back to brand new. And he's gonna be even better once he sees his new setup. Alrighty, y'all, well, we've got Houdini here, and it is time to introduce him to his new home. Are y'all ready? 3, 2, 1. There you go, buddy. Go free. He's like, what the heck? He's like, where am I? Go free, dude. No, where are you going? Go that way. Go that way. Yeah, there you go. He is like so confused right now. He has no clue what's going on or where he's at, but he's gonna absolutely love his new setup. Look at that. His colors absolutely pop in this enclosure. This little dude's gonna, well, he might love in this setup if he would actually like go into it. Yeah, go. There he goes. He's just gonna explore his setup from this point forward. Well, there y'all have it. That is our Bioactive 40-gallon ball python setup. Now, once again, over time, I'll get some moss and other materials for this enclosure. Well, there you guys have it. That was building an insane Bioactive ball python setup. Now that setup right there is basically going to be Houdini's permanent home. He's not really going to go into any other setup except for the one that he is now in. Now, if y'all have any suggestions or you think there's something I should add or do differently for this ball python setup, go ahead and drop a comment. Let me know, because I always enjoy reading your suggestions and even following along some of your suggestions. So yeah, if you have any suggestions for this setup, definitely let me know down in the comments. With that being said, we've got an absolute mess in the reptile room, and it looks like a hurricane just swept through and wiped everything out. So I'm going to end the video here so that I can get ready to go and clean all this stuff up. First things, of course, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. It lets me know if it was worth your time watching, and if I should do more videos like it. After you guys have liked, make sure to follow my Instagram, TheRealPyroToadYT. We are growing my Instagram, and I post exclusive content. For example, exclusive content on that cage on my Instagram. So if you want exclusive, premium content, then go check out my Instagram. And last but most certainly not least, make sure to subscribe. We just hit 2,700 subscribers. Now we're going to go to 2,800, 2,900, and then 3,000. So yeah, what are you waiting on? Just go ahead and subscribe. And with all that being said, thank you for taking your time and watching this video. And with all that being said, I will see you all in the next one. Peace! Oh my god, it's a scary snake. I'm a snake.